Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another interesting episode on your favorite Little Slaw YouTube channel. So today in this video, we are going to see about how to deploy an application in Azure, and I'm going to do a small test so that we can monitor the results in the application inside. So this is again uh, a complete video on it. So this is actually a combination of DevOps and the performance engineering topic. So if you are interested to watch how the DevOps works, like how does the deployment works and how does the the releases works, the staging. Normally we would see like the production and the staging environment, and then we also at the end we will see about the application insights, so how to use the application insights effectively to monitor the resources and to monitor the requests. So if you are someone who is interested to watch the entire video, please do watch the entire video. Feel free to ask any questions, or if you have any questions in the if you have any questions or feedbacks, please do add that in the comment. And if you're someone who wants to just watch only the application insights, I will add the timeline so you can click directly and you can watch only the application insights. But I would advise you to watch the entire video so that you can get a better understanding of how does the application works, how does the architecture works, and at the end I will take you to the application insights where you can understand, you can use the application insights to monitor the applications or to monitor the server side metrics and the client side metrics, right? So yeah, no further delay, let's just go to the video. And before we move on to this video, this is me, Vasan Shanmugam. I welcome you all to a Little Sly YouTube channel. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and give a thumbs up, give a comment, your feedback, and please do join my channel for more interesting video like this. And in fact, we are going to discuss about a similar one in the Google Cloud as well, like how to monitor the Google Cloud platform. So similar like this, what we are going to. So in Azure we have application insights, and in Amazon we have CloudWatch, and in GCP we have a similar one. So we are even. I'm in fact planning to do a similar kind of metric analysis in the Amazon as well. So yeah, so as I told you, please do watch the entire video. And yep, let's navigate to the Azure portal now. So now, as a first step of monitoring the resources, I have logged into the Azure portal, and the next step of it is we are going to create an Azure App Service Plan, and then after that we're going to create a web app inside it, and then we will be creating staging deployment slots, and then we'll be deploying a web app using the deployment slots, and then we'll be monitoring the Azure web apps with and without the application insights. So let's move to the next step. So in this step we're going to create an app service plan. So I'm going to search for app service plans. So here you can see the very first one, the app service plans, and then I'm going to click on create. So usually we can create the app service plans by just clicking the create. And in fact, even we can even create this similar thing using the Terraform code as well. But for now, I'm going to just take you through the ClickUps part. And then I'm going to choose the resource group, and the name of the application is going to be demo. And I'm going to use Windows as my operating system. And the South Central US is going to be my region, and no other changes. I'm going to click on review and create, and this will create the app service plan for me. So let me click create, and this will create the app service plan for me. So before we move on to the next step, let me just give you a quick introduction about what is an app service plan. So an app service plan in Azure is a set of compute resources for a web app to run. So if you want to run a web app or a web application, you must have an app service plan, because this app service plan that I'm creating now will define the region. So which region I'm going to use, and what is the instance size, and what is the scale out settings for my web app. So when you create an app service plan, you essentially allocate a set of resources to host your web application, the APIs, the mobile backends, and any other Azure app services. So the main thing, which before you want to create any web application, you must need a app service plan. So that is the basic part for creating a web application, right? So hope I believe you understand why we are creating the app service plan first. So now we have created it, and let me go to the resource. So this is demo is the app service plan which we have created. And here, this is a very basic dashboard screen you can see, where you can see the resource group, the status of the app service plan. And here, yeah, so let me just take you through a quick overview. So in this overview, we can see how many app or slots which are currently in use and the deployment slots. Uh, I mean, basically the deployment slots which allow us to have multiple instances of an app running. So, and every app uses at least one slot for the production app, but additional slots are useful for testing before releasing to production. And you can even have a slot to roll back to with no downtime. So, in fact, we'll see how to create the slots as well in this video. And then we have the subscription ID, we have which operating system we're going to create, and then the zone redundant is that do we have a zone redundant or not. And then yeah, let's move on to the next step now. So now as the first step we have created the app service plan, and let's move on to the next step. So yeah, since we do not have any apps or slots that's been installed, so we cannot we don't see any CPU percentage or any memory percentage or data in or data out, so it's completely empty and we don't have anything to view. So now in this step, we're going to create a web app in Azure. So how can we create it? So let's search for app services. So under app services, click on create. So we have lots of options. We can create a web app. We can create a static web app. We can create a web app plus database, and we can even create a WordPress on app service. So this was, I mean, a latest addition to this part. So here we're going to create a web app. So this is what we are going to, in fact, we're going to do a testing. We are going to do a send request, and then we're going to see the CPU and memory utilization of it. So for now, okay, the next steps, right? So the resource group, let me select the resource group, and then the demo web app. So this is going to be our application name, I mean the instance name. And then I'm going to publish a code for this. So I'm going to have it the same one. And then okay, let me just okay, and then the runtime stack should be .NET 6, and the operating system is Windows. Then the region will be South Central US. And yeah, so the demo plan, which we already created, the Windows plan, which is the demo, which is basically the app service plan. So that has this following configuration. So it has 100 total ACU and 1.75 gig of memory, and then we have one CPU. So this is I mean, again, this is a very basic configuration. So for just for demo purpose, we're going to use this. And yep, so that is the very basic configuration for creating the application. The database, we do not have any database. No deployment. I mean, like in terms of deployment, we don't have anything planned now. So nothing changes in the networking. And going to the monitoring part. So for now, I'm going to select no, I'm not going to enable application insights for now. I'll be doing it in the later stages. No tags, go back to the review and create, and then I'm going to click on create. So first step, we created a app service plan. And then in this step, we are creating the web app under the app services. So this is very, very important. So sometimes if you're like uh, getting an interview question on DevOps, so what would be the basics? So you need to have an app service plan. So that plan actually will again I told you will tell you like what is the resource instance, where which location are you going to install. So you must have to plan all those. And then once you plan all those things, and then you can create the web app on top of it. So now we have created the application. So the web app is created now, and you can see in the overview the resource group that we have used, the subscription ID, the location as well. And now here we have got the default domain. So this is the default domain. So our web, so now you can clearly see that our web app is running and it's waiting for our content, right? So this is the first step. So now we have successfully created a web application. So this is again a very basic application that we have created. I mean, like just the home page of the application. And then we'll move on to the next step. Yep. So as I have told you, we have successfully created an app service plan and then a web app. So let's move on to the next step. So in this step, we're going to create a staging deployment slot. So before that, let me create a duplicate of this tab. Let me bring it here. So yeah, the reason I brought this screen is I want to just open and show you the app service plan. Uh, am I on the right one? App service plans. Click on demo, close it. Yeah. So now if you see, so previously when we were creating this particular app service plan, you could have found out that there are like zero applications and zero slots. So now we have one application, right? So we have one application now and we have zero slots. So because we haven't created any slots and we're going to create a slot now. And if you see here, so since we have created the application and if we have clicked on this and that would actually send out the request. And here you can see we have got the CPU percentage. So out of the 1.45 gig, now we can see there is like around 14% of CPU has been utilized and the memory percentage, which is like this is the available memory percentage, I would say. So we have got around like 90% of memory that's been available uh, in this application, in this app, web app, and then we have like data in, and then we have got data out. And then, in fact, if I go to the metrics, we can actually get more out of it. But then let's slow down and let's first create the complete application, and then we'll go back and do the monitoring. So yeah, like I told you, the next step is we are going to create a staging deployment slot. So for that, so for creating a staging deployment slot, I'm going to search for the app service. I'm going to the app service blade. So in the app services, let me open the app services here. And then here you can see the deployment slots under the deployment section. So previously we have created an app and now we are going to create a deployment slot for that application, right? So now I think you are able to relate what I'm trying to say. And here I'm going to click on add slot, and under the add slot, I'm going to add the name and that's going to be staging, right? So it's just going to be staging. So as part of the, so if you can see here, we have got demo web app and then the name of it. So inside that, like demo web app, the staging would be added to the settings, and then do not clone from the settings. I'm not going to clone any settings from here, and I'm going to click add, and this will create the slot for me. So now I have created a slot and we can very well see the slot. So yeah, so now we can see we have got one web app plus one demo web app staging. And if we go here, let's click on refresh. Yeah, so now we can see we have got one application plus one web app, one slot, right? And so if I let me just open the demo web app staging URL. And this will show you the URL of the demo. So let me just open it. I just want to keep it open so that we can see what magic I'm doing now. So here we have got the web app is running in the production, and same we have got, so we have created a slot and then that will create the web application and then it's running in the staging environment. So now we have created an application and we have created a slot, right? So let's now move on to the next stage. So now I'm going to quickly deploy the code. I mean, like it's just basic code into the production environment. And here for now, this is the production application, and you don't see anything. It just says your web app is running and waiting for your content. So we're just going to add the content here. So I have downloaded the file already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the from the staging slots. Where am I? So yeah, from the staging slot, I'm going to go to the app service blade advanced tools. So under the advanced tools, I'm going to, so this is the way I'm going to deploy my application. So there are like several other options. We can package your application and you can send it to the app server. So this is again a very basic application where I'm going to set up, or where I'm going to establish, build my code and send it here. Yeah, so and before I go back to that particular advanced tools, let me just go show you this. So if you are near overview screen, if you go to the monitoring, you can very well see the metrics like the request, the response times, and then the data in, the data out, the HTTP. But this is very basic level of metrics, I would say. So that's the reason we do bring the app dynamics. I mean, like I would say, you can like have millions and millions of records and lots of metrics from the application insights. So let's wait for some more minutes to reach that part. So yep, click on advanced tools, click on OK. Yes, I go. And then here, let's wait for the Kudu toolbar to open. And then under the tools, I'm going to use the zip push deploy. So this will take me to this page where I'm going to deploy my code, or where I'm going to supply my code. And let me just drag and drop the file. So I have my file already downloaded. I have it set up ready. So I'm just going to copy this file here. So now this will take a few more seconds to get it deployed. So let's wait for it. And once it's deployed, let's come back to the screen. So now the code has been deployed. So let's, I'm going to close this page. So now I have, like, I just deployed the code. And let's now move on to the next step. So so now I have deployed my code in the staging environment and not in the production, right? So if I go to the production and when I refresh it, I don't find any changes here. But at the same time, if I go to my staging environment and when I refresh it, you can see there is a change. There will be a change in the screen because I have deployed the code. So this is how basically the applications work. I mean, the deployment of the application. So when you deploy the code, that will be reflected in your application. So now if you see, I have deployed the code in the staging environment very clearly. So here, if you can see, I have deployed the code in the staging environment using the Kudu toolbar, and that's the reason you can see the application ready and running. And then let me take you to the another part in this staging. So if I go to the environment variables, so here, if you see, the environment variables section is here. And I'll tell you why did I take you here. So this part here, the app settings are divided into different sections, the app settings and the connection strings. And these are always swapped by default since the web application depends on the specific framework version and platform to work correctly. So under this app settings, I'm going to add an application setting. So it's going to be like, so let me give the name as test setting. And so usually for DevOps, so they know we have like two environments. One is we call it as blue deployment, and the other one is the green deployment. So in the blue deployment, what we do is we have two environments, and we first deploy all the code in the blue environment, I mean the staging environment, which is not up and running. So that will be private. So any changes that we do will be in private environment. We do all the testing, and when we find everything is okay, we do deploy, we do swap the environments. So without any downtime, the new release or the new code will be deployed to the existing production environment, and the existing will be coming back to the uh, inactive state. So for any changes that we want to do, we'll bring the changes to the inactive environment, and then we'll again swap it back into we'll just play that way, so that we can the main objective of doing this is to keep the application available up and running all the time. So anytime just imagine, so anytime when we use our when we run our web application, we never find, when we run our banking application, we never find it is down. So when do they deploy the application? So this is some of the options that they use to deploy the application, where the downtime, where there will be no downtime to the applications, right? So let me check this deployment slot settings. So by default, the app settings will swap to the target slot. So by checking this slot setting, I'll make it stick to the resource slot. And then I'm going to click apply. So just a quick recap. So what did we do previously? At the very first part, we have created a app service plan. And then we have created a web app. And then we have created a production staging web app. And here now I'm creating the environment variables where I have created a slot, deployment slot. And here we have our production application, and then here we have our uh, staging application. So before we move on to the next step, let's do one thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to the neo load, and let's create two requests, and let's keep it running, so that by the time when we go to the application itself, we'll have some data to monitor, right? So I'm going to create a request, and then let me add a delay, which basically is the think time, and it's going to be 10 seconds, just 10 seconds. And then let me add another request. So this is the next request which I'm going to add. Go back to the neo load, and let me add another request here, another get request. This is a staging environment. So previously I have added the production, and now I'm adding the staging environment. And then under the populations, I have populations running. I have a runtime. I'm just going to run it for like 1 or 10 minutes. By the time we'll stop the test, but still, yeah, that's the option we have. I'm going to run this test for like 10 minutes. So let's start the test and let it keep running. So by the time, like I told you, by the time we go to the application insights, we can see some requests would be there, and we would be utilizing the CPU, we will be utilizing the memory, right? So yeah, let's let the test initialize, and let's go back to our Azure portal, and let's see what we're going to do next now. And the next step is let's go back to the deployment here. Yeah. So here we have our deployment. So under the deployment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the deployment slots, and that we have, see, we can see both the production and the staging is up and running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the code from the staging to the production. So the source is staging and the target is production, right? And now if you see the just to show you a quick recap, the application is running now. So let's see what happens during this swapping, whether do we get any errors or do we get any issues, any downtime or things like that, right? So shall we start the swapping? Yep. So I'm going to click start swap. So this will swap. So now if you see in the production, I have the original application, the your web app is running screen, and in the staging, I have the value of test settings and define the code that I have deployed to the application. So this is currently before the swapping is happening. So now the swapping is being initiated, and let's wait for the swapping to get complete, and then you can see the difference between the production and the staging applications. So now we have successfully swapped the deployment. So if we go back and check the application, so now you can see we can see the staging code in the production and the production code in the stage. So let's check the near load. So see here, there was no downtime. So that is the reason we are using the blue deployment. I mean, the way of swapping the uh, code. So this is again, I would say, in major industries, in major applications, they were using this. I mean, like in terms of the cloud. So once we have got the cloud, this kind of options are very flexible, and like we have got lots of option to do it. So yeah, so if you are into DevOps, if you are into DevOps, you'll understand this better. And yep, so let's now go back to the next step. And just a quick recap. So what did we do so far? We created a App service plan. We did create a web app. Inside the web app, we I mean like and inside the web app we have created, we had a production environment, and then we had created a staging environment, and then we have created a slot, and then using that slot we did swap the application. And just to check, I'll just show you here. So if you see in the app service plan, um, you can see we have got the same part. So we have got one app and one slot. And if you see, since we are hitting the request, you can see there is like more requests that's coming into the application. The CPU percentage is like out of 1.75 gig, we are hitting around 16%. I mean, like more than 50% of the CPU has been utilized now with just two GET requests. One is in the uh, production, one is in the stage, and then here you can see the memory percentage has been utilized in a good manner. I mean, like it's more than 80% of the memory has been utilized. And then, yep, let's move on to the next step now. So now what we're going to do in this step, so we're going to monitor the Azure Web App. Yes, so we are into the place where we have started. So we are going to monitor the web applications, right? So for that, on the overview blade of the production app, so we are in the production app now. So let me just close that. Let's click on the monitoring. So where are we in the monitoring? Yeah, here we are in the monitoring tab. And then, sorry, let me go to the overview. Sorry, I'm in the overview tab, and then click on the monitoring tab. So here you can see we have got the metrics. So we have got HTTP 5. So this is basically HTTP 500 error 503. So this is basically an error, server error. So if you see here, we have got, if if you get something here, that means that we have got some server errors to the application. And then we have got data in. So how much data has been received from the server and how much data has been sent to the server, and then how many requests are we sending. So here you can see like we are just sending tens and tens of requests to the server, and then the response times here. So these are the basic metrics that we can see in the monitoring, right? So now what we can do is, let's click on the see all metrics, and here this is the place where we can add the very important metrics that we need for the performance monitoring. So here we have got lots and lots of metrics to collect, out of which some of the very important one are the connections. How many connections do we have for the testing? And then again, here you can set up the time. So I'm going to just choose last 30 minutes as my metric time duration, and then we can add any number of metrics here. So I'm going to add another metric, which is how many uh, HTTP 200 errors, like how many successful requests I've got. So here you can see we have got like all the requests are successful, and then we'll add how many errors did we get. So HTTP server errors, how many errors did we get? It's like completely zero. And then how many thread counts we have got. So we can add any number of, so again, like some of the important things, like the amount of CPU consumed by the app in seconds. So this is very important, yes, as a performance engineer, yes. So let me click on CPU time, and then if I really do not want any other things, I can just remove everything else. I just keep only the CPU time. So let me just remove everything else which I just not required for now. So for now, let me just even remove this part. Yeah, let the connections be there. So now if you see, the CPU time is this part. So initially I've got like a lot of CPU that's been utilized, and then slowly the CPU utilization has come to a steady state, and the connections are still the same. And then in case of any, again, yeah, for the garbage collection, so which is related to the turn memory. So if you see, we have got like three generations of garbage collection. So this gen 0 shows the number of times the generation 0 objects are garbage collected since the start of the app process. And then if it is like for gen 1 garbage collection, so we can collect, like if you want, if you really feel that there is a memory leak, so in that case you can add the Gen 1. So if see here, you can see like the Gen 2 garbage collection is happening in a very high manner. And what if, yeah, what about Gen 0? So here you can see again, Gen 0 is almost the same. Gen 1, generation 1 is again almost same. So if you really feel, I mean, like when you are running a test, a kind of an endurance test where the objective is to find the memory leak. So in that option, in that scenario, you can add the generation memory leaks, and then the memory working set will collect the amount of memory. So this is the, I mean, the amount of memory, the current amount of memory that's been used by the app. So this is very important. So a very basic thing. So two things. One is the CPU time and the memory working set. So just repeat with me. So you are going to collect two main metrics using the Azure monitoring. So one is the CPU time, which will tell you the CPU, the amount of CPU that, that the application is using, and then the memory working set, which is the uh, metric that shows how much amount of memory that you are using during your, I mean, your app is using during the testing, right? So these are the two metrics, the major, the very critical metrics. And if you're running, so this is again during your load test. And again, I would say we are not even entered the application insights, the one that has lots of Easter eggs. With that, I would say. So yep. So it's a very basic thing. So this is something like in terms of the performance. So we all know the performance would collect the CPU and memory. So this is very clear. It shows us the very clear idea of how what is the production hits. I mean, how much CPU and how much memory is being utilized during this point of time. And yep, let's have it. And then let's move on to the again, like I told you. So you can use the time range, and then if you want to have it as an area chart, you can have it as a bar chart. Yes, you can have it as a scatter chart. It's a grid. But for now, I'm going to use the line chart. This is more easy to understand. Then if I wanted to save it to dashboard, I can pin it to dashboard. So anytime when you come, you don't need to worry about, you need to come to the metrics part. You can just go there and you can watch it in your dashboard as well. And if you have your Grafana, you can even pin it to Grafana. If you have Grafana that's been created, so you can create a Grafana workspace and you can send these data to your Grafana. And yep, so far we have completed, and then let's move on to the next part. So under the metrics, we have the app service logs, and this one, I mean, the app service logs will help us to understand the logs that we are going to watch. So for example, in this scenario, I'm going to switch on the app application logging, and it's going to be the verbose, not the error or not the warning or the information. It's just going to be the verbose information. And in terms of the web server logging, I'm going to select the file system. So this will show us like around 35 MB of data in terms of the web server logging. So in terms of the file system, and let me click save. Let's wait for it to complete, and then let me click on the log stream. So in the log stream, there are like two options for us. So one is the application logs. So this will help you to understand how does the application works. Let's wait for a few more seconds to get all the application logs that's been loaded. So here you can see which page is getting triggered and what are all the applications that's getting triggered for the last 2 hours. So for the last few minutes of the day. And then if I want to watch the web server logs, if I click on the web server logs, so here I can see the web server logs, like how many requests has been hit during at what time. So by using these logs, you can correlate it with your testing. So you can even compare it and see how much or what requests have been sent to the system. So let's do a quick check. So yeah, the neural test is running fine. And let's wait for a few more seconds to get the logs to get popped up. So yes, now we have got some data into the web server logs, and here you can see the request that's been set, the response code, the response times in seconds. So yeah, this one you can use it for correlation, like how what are the requests that's been sent. So this is some of the way you can improve your performance monitoring. And yep, so with that we have come to this step, and yeah, the next is the very critical one, which is the uh, application insights, right? So that's what we are waiting for the whole time. And let me search. So in the search bar in the Azure portal, I'm going to search for the application insights. Yeah. So even if I type with a bad application like spelling, it will create it for me. So now I'm going to click create, and I'm going to create the application insights for me. So there's a group, the same one, and then demo application insight is the name of it, and then I'm going to select. So this is the log analytics workspace. So the log analytics workspace is very critical because that is where so the log analytics workspace is where all our logs are going to get stored. And then, I mean, again, there is like lots and lots of other areas that we need to explore. And in case if you want to get any training on Azure DevOps, please do reach out to me. We can have a session on Azure DevOps as well, where I can take you through log analytics workspace, the function app, and what is the event log, and what is a Microsoft Sentinel. So there are like lots of other topics to be discussed. And let's create. So now now I'm creating the application insights, and let's wait for it to get deployed. Yep, so it's getting deployed. And once it's deployed, let's go to the resource. Yep, so yeah, this is deployed. So now let's go back to our, I think I missed it. Yep, I think I can go back here. Yeah, so now we are in the production web app. And here you can see the application insights under the settings section. So now what I'm going to do is I have created an application insight, but did I turn it on? So now I'm going to turn it on. So yes, now I have turned it on. And I'm going to select the existing resource, and this is the demo application insights which I have created, and let me click apply. So what did I do is I have come to my production web app, and under that I went to the application settings and I have connected to the existing resource, which is the demo web app application insight. So this is how you have to create. So you have to make sure that the application insight is turned on, and if it is turned on, you have to enable your application insight, and for that you have to come to your, so which uh, web app you want to monitor. So you have to, whether it is production or whether it is staging. So if you go to staging, I can just show you this part, the application insights. I have not turned it on for the staging, but I have turned it on for the production. So that's the difference. So you have to turn it on if it is not turned on, and you have to create an application insights, and then that's only after that you will be able to connect to your resource, right? So that's why we need to create it. And yeah, we have created it already, and I've connected it now. So yeah, let's move on to the next step, and that is view application. So once you created it, now you're into your application insights, and then click on the view application insights data, and this will take us to the main page. So here the overview page will show us the location, the subscription, the very basic part. And here we have the search. So under the search, I'm going to click on see all data in the last 24 hours. So this will take me to the part where we are waiting for the results section. So let me refresh it. So let's wait for a few more seconds to get some data popped up in this screen. Yep. So now we have got lots of requests that's been coming up, and all of these are like, so here you can see we have got the, so since we are like only monitoring for the production, so we are able to see only the requests, the get requests for the production environment, and the response code is like 200. And yeah, so for the last few 30 minutes, like we are getting around like 26 total requests that's been sent. And now what we'll do is let's go to the logs. So here this will show you more interesting factor. And then here I have this page views. So let me just type it here now. Page views for the last 30 minutes and run. Okay, I think nothing is being popped up. I mean, like loaded into the logs for now, but okay, that's fine. So for now, we are into the transaction search. See all data in the last 24 hours. And in case if I want to group the related results, so if here you can see, if I group the related results, I've got 58 records that have 5 common properties, and then 51 records have got 6 common properties. And these are the common properties, I would say, like the URL is common, the success status and the response code, the application version and the option. Same way. So in case if you're running like different requests, so you can collect these common requests, the grouped results with you. And what else we can see? So yeah, now under the investigation, so this is the area which we have to monitor. So all these part under the investigation is the very critical part. So if you go to the availability, here you can see the availability of this overall test. I mean, like the availability test, and coming to the failures. In case if you find any failures, you can see them here. The yeah, the failed request count, and the request count, the total overall request count, and then the CPU percentage, the available memory, and then the storage, and then moving on to the performance. So here you can see the performance of the application. So here you can see the number of requests that's been sent and the duration of each request. And also here you can see the request count, this the CPU that's been utilized during this test. So for example, if I'm just taking it for the last 30 minutes, so here you can see I've got these many requests, the response time, sorry, the operation time, and then the amount of CPU that's been utilized, then the available memory. So here you've got, so there are lots of memory that's been available during this testing, and then the storage part. So all these parts, all these areas that we can monitor here. Then if I go to the dependencies, well, let's wait for a few more seconds. Yeah, and I just wanted to show you this part. This is more interesting here. So if I go to the results part, and if I click on any one of this result, this will take me to the end to end transaction result. So this will show me like if there is any issue in any of these requests. So you can do a tracing, trace. Again, you just trace the request. So here you can see um, the name of the request, the response code, the successful request, the response time, the URL, and if we want to see what happened before and after the request. So here you can see the operation started and the home, you're getting into the home index part, and then the step operation ended. So by this way you can understand the architecture. So where does it start and where does it go and where does it end? And you're coming back to the next part, and here you can see the trend of this request over time. So how many requests that's been sent during this test. So totally you can see like there are like 294 events that's been sent during this test. And yeah, here you can see the total number of requests that's been sent, and then what are the all availability telemetry 5 minutes before and after this event. So all these information will actually add more value to your response time results. So here you can see all of these. So the more you explore into it, you can understand much better. And yeah, so let me go to the metrics part. So here let me just refresh it for a moment. So yeah, here we have got like application insights metrics, and under this there are like browser metrics. So like I told you, the server sorry, the client side metrics, the browser page load time. So how much time does the browser take to load, and then how much time does the client processing time take to load, and how much time does the page load network connect time, and how much time does it take for receiving the response times, and the send request time. And then if you want to watch the failures, you can watch them, and the performance counters, yeah, the available memory during the test. And I can add another metric, which is the um, exception, the process CPU. So yeah, like I told you, so in terms of performance testing, you can see it in the front page, I mean the monitoring part. But if you want to explore more in terms of both the client side and the server side, you can use these metrics here, and then the process CPU, the HTTP request rate, and yep, so here the server rate, the server requests, you can monitor them, the page views, the traces. So you can have lots and lots of options to monitor. So like I told you, so you can watch the available memory, the exception rate, the HTTP request execution time, the HTTP request rate, the process CPU, the process IO rate. And in terms of the server, you have got dependency calls, which is the count of calls that's been made by the application to external resources, the dependency duration, the server request rate, the server requests, and the usage, the page view load time. So you have got lots and lots of metrics to view when you come to your application insights. So that is the reason why people are using the application insights more when your application is hosted in Azure. So this will actually definitely give you more and more information to fix all your bottlenecks. And like I told you, the transaction search where you can do the even the profiling part is possible. So let me just show, if it's possible, I can show you. So if you are much better, you know, like how to do the profiling, you are always welcome to do it. So where you can do the profiling part. for the application. So even you can go to the application map and you can see how does the application has been mapped. So here you can see you got one instance, and you're sending your HTTP requests to this profiler, and then you've got your client. So if I just click on this detail, you can see these are the application insights, and this is the application, the web app that we're testing now. So here you can see the slowest calls by time. So this will actually give you more information, like I told you. So this is the slowest call by name, and if you want to investigate the performance, you can very well investigate it, and this will help you to improve the performance of the application. So yes, with that we come to an end, and I believe you might have understood how to uh, create an app service plan, how to create a web app, how to create slot, and how to create a staging environment. And then finally, we have entered into the monitoring part. So if you go to the overview screen of the web app, I think yeah. Let me go back to the where is that? Sorry, home, and then the demo web app, the app service, the production web app here. If I go to monitoring, so yeah, here you can see the requests, the response times, and everything is here. Um, so yeah, like I told you, this will help you. I mean, like yeah, I think it should be in the dashboard, right? So yep, I think it should be somewhere here, the dashboard. Fine. So yeah, so we found out how to turn on the application insights, how to create an application set, and how to connect it, and how to turn it on, and then we have monitored the metrics, and then even we saw how to monitor the client side metrics, the server side metrics, and that will definitely help you. And even we did a small investigation where we were able to find the traces of the application and the slowest response time. So all these will help you in terms of improving the performance of the application if your application is hosted in Azure and that does has the application inside. So with that I come to an end, and I definitely believe this video would be very useful to you. So until I meet you in our next video, it's bye bye from Vasan Shanmugam and your favorite Little Star YouTube channel. Take care and bye bye.